new arrivals. Well, how about this one, Steve?
Yeah.
The 87 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme hardtop. Now, why did I pick that?
I don't know.
We put it on
It's a big
Tik
star.
Tok.
Big star.
It's a big star.
931,000 views. It's so ubiquitous. Is that the word? Back in the day, everybody had one. And
I don't get it though. I mean, I do get it. They're very cool, and I always like Cutlasses. I was always a Cutlass guy.
Yeah.
From the first iteration in 1964 all the way through whenever they stopped making Cutlasses. I can't figure out why this particular car got so much traction.
There's a lot of funny nicknames for Cutlasses. Some of them probably not appropriate for radio. One was like people comment on the video. Chicken Cutlass was one of them. The Gutless.
The Gutless, yeah.
But, that's questionable.
Well, especially if it was a W30 back in the day. That wasn't gutless.
Not at all, no.
Or like my buddy, his dad worked for the Oldsmobile dealer, and he always got Cutlasses with 455s in them in 71, 72. Just plain Cutlasses with 455s. Right. Which you didn't get, and those things would go.
Sleeper.
Oh, yeah. What a sleeper. But this thing, light chestnut metallic over camel tan, very blah colors. Velour.
Yeah.
But very recognizable. People love this car. People gravitate to this car. And if you had one, or your dad had one, or your grandparents had one, here's an opportunity for you to get one. Very original example. 3.8 liter V6, the automatic transmission. The interior is like brand new.
Yeah. I think it has less than 10,000 actual miles.
Wow. So if you get a chance, check that out. Website, classicautomall.com. How about the 1971 Ford Mustang Mach 1? Light pewter metallic over black. This car is so cool looking.
Yeah, we get a lot of these in, and they don't last very long.
They don't last very long.
They're hot right now in the market.
They are very hot, and the back window is almost flat.
Yeah, it is.
It is. It's as flat as
it's like the Charger 500.
Yeah,
remember that when the back window was straight?
It was just literally almost straight, and then apparently that's why they put louvers on those, because the heat was so intense back there. Same with the Pacer. We were just talking about the AMC Pacer, the greenhouse effect that they had with all that glass. I mean, it was like, it's like a bubble top. People thought bubble tops were cool until they rode in one in the summertime. You're like, oh my God, I'm like in a furnace.
Yeah, a lot of windows.
Yeah, a lot of windows, extra windows. So you had to watch for that. So this Mustang Mach 1, light pewter metallic over black, is probably the most iconic color for a Mach 1 that there is. It's something about that color combination that that's Mach 1. If you put Mach 1 in the dictionary, that would be the picture you would hope that would be there.
Good looking car.
351 Cleveland V8, Ram air equipped, top loader 4-speed manual, got the striking fastback lines, and the Shelby 10-spoke wheels, which are really a cool addition to the car.
It really is.
So the Mach 1, I mean, what a name. You talk about aerodynamic type name, Mach 1, like a jet fighter jet or something.
Speed of sound.
Speed of sound. That's exactly right.
I learned that by writing up another Mach 1 this week.
36,000 Mach 1s were built in 71. And the pewter metallic, like the one here, was the one that Ford chose for their 71 Mustang sales brochure.
That's right.
So that tells you a lot about what they thought about it and what the market thought about that particular color. So again, if you get a chance, check it out on our website. Another Ford product, a 1969 Ford Cobra two-door hardtop, royal maroon over black. R code 428, one of 3,900 built. This thing was a screamer. This thing was straight line.
Thank you. Here's a screamer for you.
This thing was like a wolf you talk about wolf in sheep's clothing.
It really was,
this thing was...
It's so pedestrian looking. It's got
it is very
few little features that give it away, but man, it just looks like a regular car.
I would imagine a lot of people would see that and not have any idea that it's of anything of any significance. It just looks like an old cool car from the 60s.
Yep.
What would be special about that other than 428? The close ratio top loader manual, R code, 51,000 actual miles on this car.
Yep, Cobra Jet.
All in a quarter mile at a time.
That's right.
Doesn't sound like a lot until you start doing the math. And then you go, oh, well, maybe that's a little more. But this one's been redone, obviously. And very, very desirable, rare, potent. You fill in all the adjectives you want on this particular car.
Great car.
And now for something completely different. The 1952 MG TD Roadster, cream over red, 48,000 actual miles on this car. Upgraded to LED lighting, which is people don't think about very often in classic car world. Some of these cars are very difficult to see at night. And
I have cars from the 90s that are tough to see. I mean, lights have come a long way.
They've come a whole long way. And not only the headlights, but the tail lights even more so.
Yeah.
Because somebody's coming in up, hot on your tail and they don't see you, or it looks so small that they think you're further ahead than you are. The depth perception kind of gets...
That's important with a car like this because it's a tiny car.
Yeah, you get run over by this and you're going to know it.
Yeah.
This had it has a 1250cc inline four, rebuilt SU carbs, new top and tonneau cover, and a 4-speed manual, which in 1952 was kind of interesting, a 4-speed manual. There weren't quite as many most of them were 3-speed if they were manual, and the 4-speed with MG did, kind of change the marketplace a little bit.
Which is why so many of them became race cars. I mean, really hobby race cars.
You know who drove one on their? You know who drove one on their honeymoon?
You?
Yeah, no. JFK and Jackie.
Oh, that's right.
And Marilyn Monroe and Cary Grant drove one in the film Monkey Business.
That's right.
And Elvis has been photographed.
That is true. There's an entire website dedicated to celebrities driving their TDs.
And James Dean, Ronald Reagan was in it. I mean, he does the who's who of back in the day.
Yep.
And also a local legend, Bob Holbert.
That's right.
Where your dad worked.
That's it.
And he also worked at AMC, too.
He worked. Man, like I said, my dad's gone, so I can't really ask him. But he didn't hold the job down too long. Because I remember Volkswagen, and what is it, a Corvette?
No,
Ferrari.
Not for a Corvette. It's a Ferrari.
I can't see on my glasses
Spider,
on.
Grandpa.
C8 looks like a C8.
It does kind of look like a C8. But the 360 Spider, it was underappreciated in Ferrari world, but is really starting to gain some traction. And you're seeing it just like the 308s and the Mondials and all of that.
Yeah.
That rising tide of Ferrari world is lifting all those ships.
Sure.
Anyway, we were talking about an MG and went to that. So Bob Holbert was sold and serviced MGs and one of the first kind of import type shops in the country.
That's right. Absolutely.
How cool is that?
Very cool.
Yeah. So good for Bob Holbert. How about the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Z28, Daytona yellow over black, long-term ownership, numbers matching 302. I think this one might be sold.
I think you're right.
Or we have a deposit on it, maybe. Muncie M22 manual. Got a complete photo book of the restoration. And that is so important.
Yeah.
If you're going to restore a car, make sure that somebody documents it, because it's nice to see if the car started out as just a serial number, or it was, a rusty this, or if it was also a nice clean body that just needed paint and interior and all that stuff. There can be solid cars that need a little bit of everything except body work. And that's what you're looking for in a car like this, one that maybe had original panels and things like that. So it's important to take photographs of the restoration. Make sure
this one's well documented. It sat for a long time in the consignor, and then he restored it over a number of years. I think it is sold, however.
Right. And, or deposits.
Yes.
And last but not least, the 67 Plymouth Barracuda Formula S Fastback, ruby red metallic over black, another low mileage, 45,000 actual miles, which was, is not a lot of miles today. Back in the day, it was a few more than a little. I mean, most cars had a shelf life of about 100,000 miles, and that was really pushing it. And the manufacturers really wanted you to only drive them for a couple of years because they were cycling through the new designs.
Sure.
And they wanted you to, oh boy, it's time for a new car. Because look at that one. Yeah.
And now look at the phones.
Yeah, exactly. Every 6 months there's a new phone that comes out, and every, things just happen on a so much quicker basis. So this 67 Barracuda Formula S has got the rebuilt 273 cubic inch V8, A904 automatic, 8 3/4 inch 391 sure grip axle. So these things, sure grip, I love that.
It's going to grip. Like posi traction?
Yeah. So get a good grip on it.
Great body lines on this car. I've always liked this fastback style of the Barracuda.
Absolutely. And last but not least, I was going to talk about, and I didn't even get to talk about last week. Did you have one of those car beds when you were a kid?
Car what? Oh, no, I did not. No, I did not.
Were you too old for that?
I wanted one. Maybe we couldn't afford it.
Yeah, I couldn't afford all of the cool stuff that I wanted. I wanted all the little electric cars and the go-karts and the mini.
Yeah, exactly.
The Rupp mini bikes that sold at Sears or JCPenney. Or
do you have a car bed now?
I do. Yeah, I just sleep in one of my cars out back here when I get in the doghouse.
That's right. Adult version.
Adult version of the car bed. It's an actual car.
You've been listening to the Classic Auto Mall Show with your host, Stuart Howden.